My dear, I stitched my future with someone who never planned to stay. I lost seasons watering a heart that never grew roots for me. I bent time for you. Now I beg the clock for mercy. You taught me patience, then punished me for having it. I wasted youth on your silence, not your love. You weren't love. You were a waiting room that never called my name. I kept choosing you over healing. That was the real wound. You didn't steal my time. I handed it over, hoping you'd change. I mistook your absence for a lesson. It was a warning. My years with you were a prayer the universe never answered. I lived on potential, starved of reality. I buried my sparkle in your shadow. You weren't the storm, you were the drought after. Time didn't heal this, it just made it heavier. I called it loyalty. The universe called it self-abandonment. I mistook survival for love. I memorized your chaos and called it a home. You taught me what wasting forever feels like. I gave you the best of me before I even knew me. The calendar remembers every lonely day I gave you. I didn't lose you. I lost myself in trying to keep you. You were my habit, not my haven. I was growing toward you. You were growing away. You fed me promises and starved me of presence. I kept waiting for you to wake up and see me. You were a silence I kept trying to translate into love. Time with you felt like hope bleeding out slowly. I outgrew the pain, but not the regret. Loving you was the slowest kind of death. You left me full of years, but empty of meaning. My love aged, but you stayed the same ghost. I built a life in your absence, while you haunted mine. You were a heartbreak wrapped in good intentions. I watched myself shrink to fit your comfort. I outlasted the illusion, not the wound. You were a decade I should have dreamed for myself. Your silence carved decades into my soul. I gave you time. You gave me time wasted. You weren't time well spent. You were time I'll never get back. You made me think waiting was love. My heart wore your name longer than it should have. Loving you cost me years I'll never forgive. I believed in you more than you believed in me. I wasted my magic on your indifference. I didn't waste years. I invested in a lie. Your love had a deadline. Mine didn't. You were never late. You just never arrived. I thought you were healing, but you were hiding. I mourned a version of you that never existed. I kept loving your potential, not your presence. You left, and still took the years with you. You drained me in slow, silent days. You became my past while I was still holding your future. I tied myself to a ghost in hopes it would stay. Your comfort with my pain is what broke me. I gave my best years to your worst behavior. I wasn't in love. I was in denial. Your apathy aged me. You forgot me while I memorized you. I built a temple in your name. You never prayed. You were a calendar of lessons, not love. I thought it was love. It was emotional erosion. You stayed just long enough to ruin everything. I built castles in your absence. You were never mine, just someone I gave time to. You were a chapter I kept rereading, hoping the ending would change. I wasted years trying to read your silence like a love letter. You were always a detour, never a destination. I wanted forever. You gave me fragments. You taught me that some delays are just denials. My soul lived in the waiting room of your heart. You took up space I could have filled with joy. I spent years praying you'd notice. You didn't. You were the test. I was the lesson. I didn't lose time. I spent it on the wrong soul. You cost me everything I didn't know I'd miss. I waited for a love that was never on the way. You left me with memories that feel like missed calls. I wasn't loving you, I was surviving you. If this touched your soul, don't scroll, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. You were a decade of almosts. I looked for light in someone who feared fire. You were never confused. You were just never coming. I built timelines around your maybes. I stayed because I believed in what we could have been. You were the heartbreak that kept me from myself. I forgave the same moment for years. You were the mirror I broke trying to see love. I mistook your distance for depth. My heart timed itself around your silence. You were a ghost in real time. I was holding on. You were holding back. I spent years learning how to leave without leaving. You were the stillness that slowly drowned me. I aged in the silence between your texts. You weren't love. You were delay disguised as destiny. I waited long enough to miss myself. You became a ritual, forgot how to quit. I gave my years to your maybe. You were never home, just a long layover in my healing.